Good morning, everyone. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to try to give you a brief introduction to microcontroller. And hopefully by the end of this lecture, you will have a good enough understanding of microcontroller to get started with microcontroller and to be interested in working with them. Microcontroller are a really amazing and fascinating little devices. So let's try to figure out exactly what they do and why we need them. As we already discussed last week on how the computer system works, and we already know what parts that build a computer. First of all, we need the processor. This is the main part of the computer. However, processor doesn't have any storage, so it requires the storage module, which is hard drive. So hard drive is a permanent storage, so we need this hard drive when we install Windows operating system or other applications. We need to install into the hard drive. However, hard drive is very slow, so if every time the processor need to access hard drive to get data, to store the data, it will be very slow. The performance of the computer will be slowed down. So we need another module which is known as RAM, random access memory. So random access memory is storage, but it's not permanent. However, RAM is quite fast, so the combination between hard drive, processor, and RAM modules can perform the computer better. The processor needs to be connected to hard drive, need to be connected to RAM modules. Here comes the motherboard. So the motherboard provides the connection between the processor, hard drive, and the RAM modules. It also provides some additional circuit to connect to the input or output. Some example of input is keyboard and mouse. One example of output is the monitor. To work for the computer, for sure we need the power supply. Yeah, and then there is some additional parts which is heatsink, system fan, and other thing. As a block diagram, so I can explain the computer system as like this. The main part is the computer. There is a CPU inside the computer. However, the computer cannot work alone. The computer needs to be connected to the monitor, to the output devices, and to be connected to the input devices. If you have any computer without any connection to output or input, that will be useless. So we need the computer, we need the output devices, and we need the input devices. From the picture you can see some example. The output devices can be a monitor, can be a speaker, or can be a printer, or something else. You can connect to, let's say, the LCD projector, for instance. The computer also needs some input devices. For example, mouse and keyboard. You know, without the input devices, you cannot do the work as well. If you have, let's say, you have monitor, it's connected to the computer already, but there is no mouse, there is no keyboard. How can we give a command to the computer to do our job? That's why for the system, computer system, there are 3 blocks diagram, which is the computer itself, the output devices, and the input devices. Let's go to the next block. So if I draw this as a block diagram, you can see like this. The processor required to be connected to the memory. Yeah. But however, the processor still need to be connected to output and input. So this is the basic block diagram of the computer system. I can draw this block diagram as like this. I can draw the block diagram like this as well. So the PC as the main controller need to be connected to the output and need to be connected to the input. So there are three big block diagram in here: input, PC, and output. I need to explain this computer system. Why? Because the microcontroller is similar with the computer system. You can see the block diagram of microcontroller system in here. You can see it's very similar with the PC. It still has the microcontroller, the middle parts, and still doing the same thing, the main processor for the system. And the microcontroller still needs to be connected to the output, to the LCD. For instance, this is just example. You can connect other output, the microcontroller. And the microcontroller system needs some input. For instance, in here, I put the push button and sensor. But the input or output can be any devices. It can be LCD as output, it can be buzzer as output, it can be relay as output, yeah, any, but we need some outputs. Microcontroller process something. If in the result of the processing is not going anywhere because it's not connected to the output, then microcontroller is useless. Microcontroller also needs some input. Let's say when it press the button, then microcontroller start doing something and then start sending data to the LCD, to the output. Okay, so this is the same. If, as you can see, this is similar with the computer system. Input, microcontroller, output, still the same three block diagram. Okay. For better illustration, I changed from block diagram into the real hardware, the photo of the real hardware. You can see here, the microcontroller look alike like this. The output is like this. This is just example, the LCD. The inputs can be like this, which is push button and the light sensor. Yeah. So the microcontroller and PC are similar, but it has some different for sure. You can see the microcontroller is quite small, the PC is quite big. So when you know the microcontroller also has some kind of memory, the memory, the size of memory, the capacity is different. The microcontroller has processor in it, but because it's small and simple, the speed of the processor is different. In the PC system, you can get 2 gig or 3 gig megahertz, 3 gigahertz or 2 gigahertz, but in the microcontroller, usually it goes in megahertz. In the computer system, you need hard drive as permanent storage. In microcontroller, there is permanent storage, what they call flash memory. But for the hard drive, for the PC system, the capacity can goes up to 1 tera, 2 tera, or gigabyte. Yeah. But in microcontroller, usually the flash memory, the capacity is only in kilobyte or megabyte. It's big difference. It has some kind of hard drive, but very small. As well as for the RAM. The RAM for the PC can goes up to 4 gig, 8 gig. That's normal. but in microcontroller is only kilobyte, very small. So you can say that the microcontroller is the miniature versions of the PC. It has every single thing that PC has, but with a different capacity. The system works as the PC, just similar. So if you want to build the microcontroller system, you need to connect the microcontroller to output and to the input. And to connect the microcontroller to output and input is through that you can see here there are some pins. So the input and output goes through the pins. Okay. Microcontroller can be many types. So in here I just display some standard. It's common. You can easily buy from the online store or even offline store. And this is the common microcontroller that can be buy from the local store. The very famous one is Arduino Uno, and then Arduino Nano, Arduino Mega, and then there is Node MCU ESP32, and there is Wemos D1 Mini. There are lots more, there are many more microcontroller, like Teensy, like ARM, like something else, lots of things. But today I'm going to focus to the common microcontroller that very usually be used by many maker. Okay, so the microcontroller can be Arduino Nano, Uno, Arduino Mega, ESP32, and Wemos D1 Mini. So the question then, what's the difference between these microcontrollers? The difference is the specification. As you know, the PC, for the standard PC and gaming PC maybe look like the same, but inside the specification is different. It is similar with the microcontroller system. You can see here the Arduino Nano, Arduino Mega, and Arduino Uno, the comparison table. First, for sure, the difference is the dimension. For the PC, the dimension, they call it form factor, but in here the dimension you can see, yeah, is depend on your application. If you need a small system, then it's better go to Arduino Nano because it has the smallest dimension. Okay, but there is some different. Let's say the processor is different. Okay, Arduino Uno using Mega 328, Arduino Mega using Mega 25060, Arduino Nano using Mega 32U4. The clock speed actually is all the same, and you can see the big difference with the personal computer. The personal computer clock can go up to giga, but in here it's only 16 megahertz. And then the flash memory. The flash memory is hard drive for the microcontroller. This is the permanent storage. This is where you install application into the microcontroller. Yeah. So flash memory is hard drive for the microcontroller. As you can see, the size of the hard drive is only 32 kilobyte for the Uno. Similar with Nano 32, Arduino Mega a little bigger, 256 kilobyte. So that's the hard drive, the flash memory. The next one is RAM, the random access memory. In the computer it can go to 2 or 8 gigabyte. In here only 2 or 8 kilobyte. Very small. RAM in here is non-permanent storage. flash memory is permanent storage. In flash memory, you can only write into it during the downloading process. You cannot change the flash memory contents during the application, during the running, when the application run. And there is the third type of the memory, which is known as EEPROM. As you know already, that RAM is non-permanent storage. Flash memory is permanent, but you cannot change instead of just during the boot downloading session. The EEPROM is in between flash and static RAM. EEPROM is the permanent, and it can be written or read during the application, during when you run the application, the software I mean. So you usually use the EEPROM for storage the configuration. Let's say you want for your system, you have some configuration that can be settable, let's say many things, yeah. So it usually goes to the EEPROM. For the program, for the firmware, it goes to flash. Static RAM is for temporary. So the capacity of the memory is different, as well as the digital I/O pins, the pins that be connected to input and output. As you can see here, the Arduino Uno only has 14 pins. This is the smallest. Arduino Nano, a little bit bigger, it has 20 pins. The Arduino Mega has the largest, which is 54 pins. So, which one better? Is it Arduino Mega always better? No, it depends on the application. If you only drive, let's say, 5 or 10 outputs, then you can buy Arduino Uno or Nano because it is cheaper and the dimension is smaller. But if you have to connect 25, 30, 35 outputs or inputs, then you have to buy Arduino Mega. For me, as long as it is possible, I prefer using Arduino Nano because of the form factor, because it is small and easy. It's very small. Okay. Now this is the comparison between Arduino Uno, Mega, and Arduino Nano. Now, then I want to compare with the Node MCU ESP32 and Wemos D1 Mini. This is the comparison table between the Arduino Uno, ESP32, ESP8266. In a plain words, the difference mainly just about the connection. It's mostly about the connection. Arduino Uno doesn't have any connection like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Arduino don't have this kind of connection. In contrast, the ESP32, it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection. ESP8266 is in between. It has Wi-Fi, but it doesn't have any Bluetooth. So if your application doesn't require any connection to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, Arduino Uno, Nano, Mega is fine. But when you need the application to be connected with the computer or with the smartphone, then you need the ESP32 or ESP8266. For instance, you want to turn on and off the lamp using your smartphone, then you need ESP32 or ESP8266. But let's say your application only if there is a people passing the door and then the alarm goes off, then it doesn't require any connection, so you can just using the Arduino Nano. So the main difference is about the connection. For sure, there is some other different, like say the CPU frequency. If you see here, the Arduino Uno only 60 megahertz, the ESP32 160 megahertz. So basically, ESP32 is superior, but the price is also different. The price of the ESP32 is twice as the Arduino. In Indonesia, the typical price of the Arduino Uno is 40,000. But for the ESP32, it goes up to 90,000 or 100,000. But yes, it has the bigger memory, it has the faster CPU frequency, it has the connectivity, but not the application, or not all of the application require that one. Sometimes the application require the cheapest thing. Like let's say you want to build the automatic alarm system, so it's better to keep the price down, so you can get more profit, or you can sell with a lower price. Okay. So in the term of specification, yes, I'm agree. ESP32 is the superior, but in the real world, for the application, you don't always have to go to the ESP32. So it's depend of the application. Okay, I already talked about the microcontrollers. Just remind you, there are 3 block diagram for the microcontroller. First, input. The second, microcontrollers itself. The third is the output. I already explained about the microcontroller. It has some type of microcontroller. You can choose the microcontroller. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the input. Now I'm going to talk about the input modules. For the personal computer, the typical input is obvious: keyboard, mouse. That's obvious. But for the microcontrollers, the input can be many things. Like this one, it can be push button, it can be a keypad, or other sensor. It depends of your application. Let's say if you want to make the alarm system, when there is a people passing a door, the alarm goes off, so you need some kind of people detection. So in this case, you need the PIR sensor. Maybe in other application, you need a different project, like say if you want to detect the rain and then give you alarm, then the input for this application will be raindrop sensor. If you want to build a smart watt meter, then what you need as input is AC current sensor or AC voltage sensor. If you want to build automatic lamp that goes on when it's already dark, then you cannot use the AC current sensor, so you only can use light sensor. There are lots of things, and the inputs module not just like this. There are hundreds more input modules for Arduino. This is just some example, but what I have presented here is quite common. Many applications, many projects can be done by using this input. Okay, so already covered the microcontroller type and some type of input modules. Now I'm going to talk about the output. Okay, the output module for microcontroller is different with the output module for the PC. For the typical output module for the PC is monitor, printer, LCD projector, some kind like that. But for the microcontrollers, because it is simple, because it is a mini version of PC, the output is also simple. For instance, relay module. Relay module is needed if you want to drive a load, the load that cannot be supplied directly by Arduino. For instance, the bulb or lamp. The lamp requires 220 AC, 220 volt AC. Arduino obviously cannot provide the output. So what you can do is connect the Arduino to the relay module, in which you control the on off of the relay module, and then you connect the lamp to the 220 volt through the relay. So in this case, you can on off the lamp through the relay. That's just one example. Another example is buzzer. If you want to build an alarm system, the outputs can be a buzzer. Okay. And many things that you can do. Like if you want to design the watt meter, the output can be the LCD, because you want to display the current, the voltage, the consumption. So you need some kind of display, which can be LCD module, and many more. Yeah, this is there is also that's quite interesting, which is MP3 player module. So this output can play some song. It depend on the music that you insert into the SD card. If you flip this module, you can see the SD card connector, SD card socket. So you can plug the SD card with some music on in this module, and then you can control by Arduino. Okay. So this is output module. So I just want to remind you again, there are 3 block diagram: input, microcontroller, and output. So if you want to design, this is the step. Let's say this is a study case. Let's design the automatic lamp. What kind of automatic lamp? So the design specification is like this. First, this is an automatic lamp system. The lamp will automatically on when a person enters the room. When the person is no longer detected, the lamp will automatically turn off. So this is the design specification. We want to have a lamp that will turn on automatically when there's per person enter the room, and then when there is no more person detected, then it goes off automatically. This is a very simple. So the design step, always remember that 3 block diagram. The first, we choose the middle part. We choose the microcontroller as the main control for the system. So finish with the middle part, and then the next one, we need to identify the output. What is the output for this system? And then we need to identify the input. What the input of the system? And then when we already has the clear idea about what is the output, what is the input, then we can choose the correct input output module. Okay, like this. For this purpose, this is considered as the simple system. Because this is a simple system, any microcontroller should do the job. You don't have to choose actually. You can randomly choose any microcontroller, it's fine, because it is just simple system. So for this case, I will go to the cheapest one, a smallest one, which is Arduino Nano. I can use the ESP32, but it can be useless. I don't need any connection, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connection for this purpose. Yeah. So I goes to the cheapest one, which is Arduino Nano. And then the second one, I need to identify the output. What is the output? If we read the specification, there will be lamp. So the output is a lamp. It's clear. And then what is the output for the system? The input for the system should be able to detect the presence of person. So some kind for detecting a person. So it's already clear now. For the microcontroller, any microcontroller is fine. If you already have at home Arduino Mega, you can use it. If you already have Arduino Uno, you can use as well. Even if you have ESP32, it is fine. You can just use it because it's a simple system. Any microcontroller should do the job. Okay. Now the second one, we go to the output. The output is a lamp, and we already know that the lamp requires 220 volt. Any Arduino cannot provide that voltage. So we need the relay module. So the output will be relay module. Done. Now the input. We need some kind of sensor that can detect the presence of human. For this one, we know we can use PIR motion sensor. So the block diagram become like this. This is the block diagram of the automatic lamp. In the middle part, we have microcontroller, and we already choose Arduino Nano. For the output part, it is lamp, but we cannot connect a lamp directly. We need relay module. For the input, we need to be able to detect people. Here comes the PIR, people or motion sensor. This is the main parts of the project for the automatic lamp. If we want to go into more detail, then the picture become like this. Okay, you can see now that the lamp is connected to the relay module, and then it's connected to the wall socket that provide 220 volt AC. In the left part, we can see we need the AC to DC converter, which is converting for 220 volt into 5 volt DC. Why we need 5 volt DC? Because the microcontroller require 5 volt DC. So the blue lines are the DC lines, 5 volt DC line. The red lines are the AC 220 volt. Okay. From the picture you can see every single block diagram microcontroller, the relay and the input require power supply. So the blue lines goes to those 3 block diagrams. It goes to motion sensor, it goes to microcontroller, and it goes to relay module. Okay, but that's only the power system. We also need to connect the data from the PIR to the microcontroller and then to the relay module. So the microcontroller checks the input given by PIR sensor, and then if the PIR sensor send the data that there is no person, then the microcontroller send a logical zero to the relay module, because this is a logical 0, then the relay goes off and lamp is still off. So in the very periodic time, microcontroller always checking the input. Is there any person? No. Okay, 0. Is there any person? No. Okay, 0. Is there any person? No. Then 0. So microcontroller do this periodic check every single millisecond. When it checks the PIR sensor, and then the PIR detect the presence of a people and the microcontroller, and then know, and then send the logical 1 to the relay module. The relay module accepting the logical 1, then it goes on, and then the lamp goes on. So that's the basic idea on how the system works. This is example. This is a video on how to make the automatic lamp. Okay, you can see here. Yeah. So this is the fitting for the lamp, the bulb. You need to connect to the normally open. You can see NO in there, and then in the middle there is a common. The most left is NC, normally closed. We don't need the terminal for now. Okay, so we connect the lamp to the common and normally closed, normally open, sorry, and then we connect this cable. The one is for providing input for the AC to DC converter, and the other is goes to the lamp. Okay, and then there is some sensitivity setting in the sensor. Then we need to provide the connector to the mains. Okay, and this is the demo. By using waving hand in the front of the sensor, it will make the lamps goes on, and then after a particular time, then it goes off. You can see the demo now. Okay, put the hand on the front of the, like it goes on and then off, on and then off. You can see here it requires the Arduino Nano, one relay module, one PIR sensor, and one AC to DC converter. If you want to build these projects, the Nano costs 40,000, the relay costs 15,000, so it's already 55, and then the sensor, PIR sensor, maybe around 40, if I'm not mistaken. So it goes 95, and then for AC, for DC maybe 20. So let's say it's around 120, 130,000. Okay. Now let's try our second design example. Okay. Now the second example is Bluetooth activated lamp. So we want to have a lamp that can be controlled on and off by our smartphone. The connection between the lamp, the system, and the smartphone is through Bluetooth connection. So it's become like this. The design requirement become a lamp system in which the lamp can be activated and deactivated by using mobile phone through Bluetooth connection. So that's the specification. Now always remember 3 block diagram, as I already told you. The first microcontroller, the next is output, and then there is an input. So always there will be 3 block diagram. Okay, so let's start with the easiest one. For the microcontroller, we can choose microcontroller with connection or without connection. Then how come? Yes, for this project, for sure you can use ESP32 because it has Bluetooth. But you can also using Arduino Nano or Uno, but you need to provide additional Bluetooth module. I choose to the last option. Why? To make it obvious. I already told you we need 3 block diagram, controller input and output, so I split all of this block diagram. So here I'm using the microcontroller without any connection. Okay, then we need to identify the output. The output is still the same, lamp. It's easy. How about the input? The input is Bluetooth. The input is Bluetooth. So the system should be able to provide Bluetooth connection. So given this clear idea, then we can choose the module. First, for the microcontroller, I'm going to use Arduino Uno. Why not Arduino Nano? You can use Arduino Nano. Oh, it's fine. Absolutely fine. Okay. But for this case, because for the first project I already used the Arduino Nano, now I'm going to use Arduino Uno. Okay. Second one, the lamp cannot be driven directly. You already learned from the previous project. So the Arduino needs relay module. The last one, for the input we need to build the Bluetooth connection. Here comes, we need a Bluetooth module HC06. So the block diagram become like this. So this is the main module for building this project. First we need Arduino Uno, and then we need relay module, and then we need Bluetooth module as input to the Arduino. The detailed wirings goes like this. So this is the detailed wiring. As you can see now, it's not hard to build this project. It's easy if you want to have a lamp that can be controlled on off by using your smartphone. You only need Arduino Uno or Nano. You only need one relay module. You can use 2 relay module if you want to control 2 lamps, or 3 or more. There are up to 8 relay modules. Okay, and then you need to buy HC06 Bluetooth module, and then for the connection is only simple. You can see here only require 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wires for the low power parts, and then you need 3 wires for the AC parts. Okay, it's quite easy. You just need to connect the ground to the ground. This one is already give the clear wiring. If you still want to get more details, you can go to the website that I already mentioned in here, electronoobs.com something else. You just click that part, it will goes to the website that provide you details step-by-step connection. It also gives you the details part list that you need to buy. Okay. Now, let's say you already finished with wiring and with downloading. I just forgot to mention for the software, because I'm not going to talk about the software for now. You can just download the software from the website that I already mentioned in the previous slide. Click the link, go to the website, and they provide the software. You just download, put inside your Arduino Uno, then that's it. Don't bother to program the code for now. We are not going to cover the software for now. I just want to focusing on how to design the hardware, on how to correct input output modules. Software will be discussed future. Okay, after you put all of those wire and download the software into the Arduino, then it can perform like this. Okay, you can see here from the video, yeah, press and then on. You can see there is no wire connection between the smartphone and the lamp. Okay, but if you see in details, you can see it is still connected to the computer. Is it necessary? No, it is not necessary. It's only needed when you download the software. After you finish the software, then you can just disconnect to the computer. For this case, it's still connected because it takes the power from the computer. But it's not necessary. If you buy the adapter that has the USB thing, then you can just connect the USB to your converter. You don't need the computer. You just need computer for downloading, and that's it. That's why for this project, actually, I prefer with using Arduino Nano because it's smaller. Put every single thing in a small box, put the power, and that's it. It's really nice to have the lamp that can be controlled on off by using a smartphone. Alright, so this is enough for today. So the main goal for today, I hope you understand how to build, how to choose the correct module, how to design hardware for some projects. So basically, I just want to remind you, there are 3 block diagram: input, controller, and output. Controller cannot do the job without any input or output. So you have to choose input then output. How to choose input and output? You need to identify what the output that you need. After you identify the output and then choose the correct module. This is also applied to the input. First, you need to identify the input. What the input for this system? After you know the input, then you can choose the correct sensor module for the system. And then just do the wiring, and then just upload the program, and then that's it. Okay, I think enough for today. If you got any question, and then you can send me through the WhatsApp group or other communication media. Okay, thank you. Bye. See you next week.